For the homily today, I want to go through the reading a bit, the gospel reading that is, a bit more slowly. Jesus began to teach his disciples. And indeed, that's what Jesus was, a teacher. The master, the teacher. Have you let Jesus be your teacher? And the fact that you're here suggests that yes, you have, indeed. So what have you learned from Jesus, the teacher? Now, what was he teaching that day? That the Son of Man must undergo great suffering, that he's going to be rejected, that he's going to be killed, and that he's going to rise in 3 days. So all through this season of Lent, yes, we're going to hear more about how he has set his path, his journey to Jerusalem, and done this in the full knowledge that he's going to be rejected and tortured and killed. And there's always that word of hope, however, in these heavier words of death and destruction. And that is, he's going to rise. And so as Jesus, your teacher, as you paid attention to him, what have you learned about both the kind of not so good things of life and the resurrection, the death and resurrection that's played out in your own life, played out in the life of your family, or your community, or your church, or the world? Jesus turned away neither from the destruction of his own death, nor from the hope that indeed on the third day he would rise again and death would be defeated. So, as you pay attention to Jesus the teacher, be sure to hear the hard words and the hopeful words. One of the wonderful things that happens then is Peter, who has just confessed Jesus as Messiah and who is we're told, named the rock upon which Jesus will build his church. What do we hear? He takes Jesus aside and begins to rebuke him. And some of the other gospel accounts fill that out, that, no, Jesus, you don't have to do this. We'll find another way. And we hear Jesus, as teacher, wasn't maybe too kind to him because the word used is rebuked. Peter was rebuked by his teacher, by Jesus. Get behind me. You're not setting your mind on divine things, but on human things. As you pay attention to Jesus, your teacher, be sure to hear his correction. Be sure to set your mind and heart on divine things. Indeed, let your treasure be with divine things. Because that is where that treasure is, that's where your heart's going to be. So let your heart be with divine things. He then, of course, gives the famous words that if any would follow him, they must deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow. And, of course, we all know, if we've lived more than a year as an adult, that crosses come in various shapes, sizes, persons, events, circumstances. There is plenty that calls forth self-denial, that is a painful burden to bear. And yet again, with the word of hope, that even after the destruction, Jesus said, I will rise again in 3 days. Death is going to be defeated. The cross is going to be defeated. So don't be afraid to take it up and follow me, because the final victory is mine. The final victory is yours. So take up the cross in whatever form it comes into your life. Keep your eyes on Jesus, set your mind and heart on divine things, and follow. That's part of the Lenten message. And then, of course, the words of wisdom that say, what will it profit anyone to gain the whole world but to lose their life? And that follows his saying, the one who loses his life, loses her life for the sake of Jesus and the gospel, will indeed save it. That life will be saved. What can anyone give in return for their life? So a way of underlining this notion of set your heart on Jesus. Take up your cross, whatever it is, and follow him. And in that action, you will save your life. So in all things, I hope as you journey through the days of Lent, you'll pay attention to Jesus, the teacher. You'll take up the cross and follow him, and you'll do that with a firm hope, understanding, trust in the words that death is going to be defeated. Cross and destruction are already defeated. And that is your heritage. That is a treasure for you. So embrace that treasure and walk boldly in these days of Lent. Thank you again for joining us in this service and hearing this word, and I pray that you will indeed meditate on the Word of God through the week.